Hello. Go ahead and get this started. What's up, you guys? How you guys doing? I am fine solo tonight. Not a big deal. Yeah, a short stream. We're gonna do a live stream. We're gonna react live to the college football playoff rankings set by the college football playoff committee. It'll be revealed in about 15 minutes or so. So I want to try to do this hopefully every week. Kind of what we want to do here. Ooh, actually, give me 1 second. Oh no. My camera's not focusing correctly. Not good. But there we go. But we will try to do this every week, as I was saying, and just see what the committee says, kind of how this thing goes. I missed this last week because I thought this is going to be like out there an hour later, but I obviously missed that. So yeah, we'll be live every week doing this. So please, join us. I guess while we wait, a couple of things I wanted to point out. On the game on Saturday, Texas comes back and they win this game. We'll talk about this later this week when Tim joins us. But it just becomes a scenario where you just get the wins, right? And I'm just having some issues with my camera. Don't know what's going on. Let me see. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Bye-bye. Oh, there we go. That looks better. All right. Okay. I guess that looks a little bit better. But anyway, as folks are piling in here, I know we got folks on Twitter, folks on YouTube. Please like, comment, subscribe. We are trying to grow not only the show here, but obviously the show just in general on YouTube. We are up to 18 subscribers. So, those of you guys that are following us on YouTube, we appreciate it. Also, before we get started, of course, we are brought to you by Fan Battle Sports, fanbattlesports.com, as always. Join us there for not just information on the Longhorns, but information on the Colts, Titans, the Texans, who are doing really well right now, and the of course the Jaguars, right? So fanbattlesports.com, news, articles, all that good stuff. Follow us on Twitter. We're starting to grow here, and it's really cool to see. I want to try to get us to 200 subscribers, 200 followers on Twitter by the TCU game this weekend, which also happens to be a night game. And we'll talk more about that this weekend on our show Thursday. But, we're really here, honestly. Let's just talk about the CFP, right? So last week, Texas was in the CFP at, I believe, number 7. Listen, I don't anticipate Texas changing all that much. I anticipate Texas staying at 7. I would be surprised. Really, honestly, I'd be surprised if there's any movement in the top 8. Let me look at the top 8 real quick and let's kind of see where we are right now. So, and I'll share my screen just so we can get some interaction here. And of course, guys, just let us know what you guys think here in the comments here. Let's just see what we got here. Let me do this. Yep. All right. So, looking at this here, of course, Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2. We got Ohio State number 3, Florida 4. Those top 4 took care of business last week. Ohio State struggled against Rutgers for a half, but we've seen that from a multitude of teams this year, right? That's not just an Ohio State thing. That's something that's happened with a majority of the teams this year. So Ohio State struggles early. I think they were down at one point 9-7 going into the third quarter, but they play a little catch up. They take care of business at the end of the day, which is really all that matters, right? You look at last week's scoreboard here real quick. Ohio State ends up winning 35-16. They were down 9-7 at one point in that game. Georgia and Missouri played a pretty close game throughout the weekend, and Georgia ends up only pulling this game out by 9. Carson Beck 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. Carson Beck's starting to look pretty good. He's starting to look comfortable in the system. I think Georgia might actually that SEC championship is starting to look more and more interesting. Michigan takes care of Purdue. Purdue, an abysmal 2-7. Listen, I don't know what the skill gap is at Missouri at Purdue, or what's skill positions or what any of that stuff. I don't really follow Big Ten football, but Hudson Card, former Texas quarterback who infamously got pulled after the Arkansas game a couple years ago. He's not doing very good. As a matter of fact, I think he might have gotten benched in this at this point, unless they just absolutely have nothing. I'm just curious to see what we see here. Let's see. Oh no, he did. He has played. So yeah, I mean, he's not doing very well, as you might have guessed. Let me go back here. Whoops. Let's see. Box score. Yeah, 12 of 28, 144 yards, touchdown and a pick. He's not doing very well. I don't know what the actual tape looks like, so I can't tell you from a tape perspective. But looking at this highlight here, early on, it looks like this game was fairly close. No, it wasn't. Just kidding. That was a Michigan scoring game. But, you look at their receiving, Deion Burks isn't really helping, or Sean Rice isn't really helping. 3 receptions, 43 yards. That's not going to get it done. But anyway, Michigan. Listen, I'm hearing Michigan's more than likely not going to get any sanctions this year. So even if they do, they're going to appeal them, which means that it's going to go into next year. So we can basically, I would say, these two are being held closely together just because of the game and to see who wins the game. For obvious reasons, they'll be held close together. Florida State, obviously Florida State's playing really well right now. Florida State's got some interesting games coming up. And again, Michigan plays Penn State this week. That'll be an interesting game. Michigan then gets a week off, and then they play the game in a couple weeks, right? So the game is, I believe the game is that Saturday, the 25th. So not next week. I think they get a bye next week, and then they play Ohio State the week after that. Or I could be wrong. There could be a game here. I just don't remember. I don't really care, to be honest. But you take a look at Florida State. Florida State plays 3 very interesting games coming up. They're home to Miami, which is 2:30 kickoff this weekend. And I'm not sharing my screen, by the way. So if you guys are not seeing that, I apologize. But they're at home to Miami, at home to Northern Alabama, which should work. And then they go to Florida. And then not only they're going to Florida, they're going to the Swamp. I don't think this will be a night game. This is the Saturday. It might be, right? So you got some other matchups that weekend. Let's quickly take a look at actually, let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Let me show this here real quick. And let's see. All right, so you got that college football rankings. Actually, I'm just gonna share this entire window. I don't believe I have anything in here. Okay. All right, so obviously, so Florida State's got those 3 games remaining. Michigan and Ohio State will play each other. Michigan then also plays. They're sandwiched in between Penn State and Ohio State, so they play Maryland. So I don't know how good this Maryland team is. I believe they're doing okay. They're just an okay 5-4 team. But look, there's still lots to play out here. Now, what would be very interesting, and I don't know if this will happen, they're going to Penn State. It would have been really cool if this Penn State game was the whiteout game. That would have been super. A night whiteout game would have been really good here. Penn State, they played Ohio State a couple weeks ago, and they struggled for the most part, right? I don't think the game actually ends up telling the true story of what happened. So this is a very interesting morning game. Texas doesn't play till 6:30, so I will definitely be watching this game this weekend. If Penn State wins this game, we could have mass chaos in the rankings next week. So definitely a game to keep an eye out for. Obviously, Texas, we go to Fort Worth this week. We go to Fort Worth in a night game. Next week, we go to Ames in a night game. And, of course, Tech is in that game. So our last 3 games are night games this week in Fort Worth, which I'm not too worried about because, Tech is okay. TCU is not very good, right? And I was watching some stuff earlier today, and they were talking about how, the TCU offensive line is not very good, for example. And they're talking about how just some of those things like that, right? So TCU, we should have. And then again, I don't know what Quinn Ewers. I tweeted this out yesterday after hearing some reports from Anwar Richardson over that Orange Blood. Shout out to those guys. I got a chance to meet them last week. Super cool group. It sounds like Quinn was listed day to day in Suggs' press conference earlier this week. What does day to day mean? I also heard earlier today that it was 75% ready to go. So that really means to me that at 75%, I think Quinn plays this week. He definitely plays in Ames next week. I think that's the game that's more important. Obviously, Iowa State right here is sitting, in this little bunch hold of teams right here waiting for Oklahoma State or Texas to drop something. Well, it becomes very interesting here, right? Oklahoma State, and I think Oklahoma plays West Virginia this week. Yep. So Oklahoma plays home to Virginia, again, a night game at home. And listen, if Oklahoma loses this week, they're done. And I think what Texas really needs, and maybe Oklahoma State really needs, is a couple of these teams to lose this week to kind of put some separation and kind of start to solidify their spot in the Big 12 championship game, which is ultimately what the initial goal of the season was, right? Win the Big 12, worry about everything else after that. And listen, 8-1, that Oklahoma loss stings every day, right? It's stinging more and more. And at the end of the day, this is still the best Texas team we have seen in probably, 2009, right? Let's call it 2010, because that team was pretty good. That 2010 team was okay, and then it just kind of fell off. Kind of fell off board after that, right? So the Texas 2010 team ended up. Was this the team that got maybe all the way to the Big 12 championship game? Oh, no. That 2009 team was good. This 2010 team was absolutely miserable. So it's been a while, right? And it kind of like what we've talked about throughout the season is enjoy what you've got. This team is very good. This is a very good team. And here's the other thing. I tweeted about this yesterday, and it's gotten a lot of traction, which is really cool. But Malik Murphy, as bad as he was in the second through fourth quarters of that game, right? Really up until the last drive where he kind of leads Texas down the field and he gives them that field goal opportunity, he was pretty bad last week, right? Great in the first quarter. Kind of goes back to start scripted plays. Those first 20 plays or so where he knows he knows exactly what to do in every scenario. Malik balled out. And then when things kind of get off balance and off script, that's kind of where you notice some of the struggles. And I think that just comes with growth. And I think I don't know if Quinn comes back next year. I doubt it. But I do think Malik Murphy had an opportunity to kind of separate himself from Arch and kind of go into the spring as a starter. I don't really think we're going to know what's going to happen. I think the spring is going to be very interesting next year. But anyway, I'm going to pull up the stream, and I don't think I could share the stream for copyright reasons, but I'll watch. We'll kind of see what happens, and we'll kind of talk about it, right? I'll take a screenshot of what those rankings look like when they come up. We'll just talk about it. By the way, the one thing that becomes interesting to me while I'm pulling this up is what happens in a scenario where, you know, I instantly think about why is this not working? Give me the show. Washington, and Washington and Oregon. And as I wait for this to pull up, become very interesting as Washington and Oregon. But yeah, it looks like they're just talking about some things. Nothing too crazy here. But again, I'm just going to sit here and check this out. We'll kind of watch. They're kind of just introductions. Yeah, Reese here, just looking at the brackets, and we're just going to see what happens here. Let's see. So this is while this is loading here, let's go back and let's really quickly talk about what becomes interesting in this, right? And what really becomes interesting right here, and we don't really know for sure how this is going to play out, but this is what we've got so far. Oops, wrong screen. I don't want to show myself. That'd be kind of weird. This little mix right here, right? Washington and Oregon. And listen, Oregon. Washington is ahead of Oregon because of the head-to-head, right? Clearly, they're as long as these two keep winning, they're going to keep each other next to each other, and then that kind of makes it very interesting with what happens with Texas, right? So Washington, the rest of Washington's schedule is very tricky. I don't know what happens with the rest of Oregon's schedule. We'll take a look at that. So they have an afternoon game this weekend against Utah. They are home to Utah, so Utah. Listen. I think Utah with Cam Rising is very different than Utah without Cam Rising. Defensively, this is still one of the best. This is actually really good defense. I think they're just tired, right? They're not moving the ball as they probably hoped they would, and I think this defense is getting tired. Going to Corvallis night game, very tricky. You got DJ Yongalele out there. These guys fling it. I think Oregon State they score a decent amount of points per game. Let's see. Yeah, look at this. 52, 42. A little rarity here, but 30, 31. They're putting up, I'd probably imagine, somewhere in the ballparks of 30 to 35 points a game. And they score a lot. That's Washington. Whoops. Looking at Oregon State. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, 20, 26, that's an anomaly. 36, 52, 21, 38, 35. They're also supposed to Washington State. 26, 55. So, I mean, they're scoring at a pretty good clip. So, Washington will definitely have some challenges there. Let me put this right here for right now just so I know where we are. Okay. So, yeah, let's see here. But, yeah, Washington is definitely very tricky there. Let's take a look here at Oregon State. Oh, I didn't mean Oregon State. Oregon is the one you right. So Oregon plays USC this weekend. USC obviously dismissed their guys, Alex Grinch this week. So I don't know what happens with USC. We'll really see how USC kind of pans out. Really kind of feel bad for Caleb Williams, right? Caleb Williams is somebody that is very passionate about the game. And obviously, a video comes out last week about him crying with his mom, and that's very emotional for him. USC and Lincoln Riley had this issue with Oklahoma as well. He's so in love with Alex Grinch, it's cost him probably maybe a shot at the playoff. Definitely Pac-12 title. Cost them. Last year was a great opportunity for them to take the Pac-12 by storm and win the Pac-12. They missed that opportunity. Alex Grinch is a horrible defensive coordinator. Listen, I could tell you as a Texas fan, seeing Alex Grinch's defenses in the Big 12, oh my gosh, they are atrocious. They don't tackle well. Secondary is really bad. You just expect a lot of missed tackles from an Alex Grinch coach defense. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how USC plays this week. With I don't even know who the interim DC is. Let's see if it'll tell us. Let's see here. So we got. Oh, let's see. Okay, well, Lincoln Riley thinks that USC still has a lot to play for. They do, kind of in the Pac-12. They kind of control their own destiny. They don't really control their own destiny. They need a lot of help. They had to win this game last week and they didn't. But yeah, they play Oregon this week. Oregon then goes to Arizona State, and then they finish off with the Apple Bowl. I believe is what it's called. Nope. So that's Oregon right there. This game right here, this last game of the season, which I believe is also a Black Friday matchup. Yep, that's the night. It's also a night game on Black Friday. So Texas and Oregon in action, nighttime Black Friday. That's going to be a crazy Black Friday. This is not a late game. It's actually kind of early. It's a normal game. So they are starting to reveal the playoff rankings. They show 25-20, 16-20. You got Kansas is 16, Oklahoma is 17. Oklahoma drops 8 after losing to back-to-back weeks. So, Oklahoma, you guys still suck. Maybe next time don't suck so much. Oops, I apologize for that. I'm not going to share that. Actually, I don't think I could share that, so I apologize. So, anyway, I'm back here. They just revealed 16-20. So you got Kansas moved up 5. So they were at 21. They're now at 16. Oklahoma moved down 8. So they were 9, and now they're 17 after losing in Bedlam. Utah doesn't move. LSU moves down 5. This is a disgrace to me. Listen, hold on. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. I want to talk about this here in a second. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this on time, but that's okay. I want to talk about LSU. We can go back and talk about this. Oklahoma State moves up to 15 after which is up 7 spots after Bedlam. Big for them. This is starting to shape up as Texas versus Oklahoma State, which we know what Oklahoma State does not provide for us. So an opportunity to get Mike Gundy again would be a great opportunity. So Oklahoma State, they're at 15. Missouri only moves down 2 to 14. Of course, they lost that game to Georgia. Tennessee up to 13. They move up 4. They demolished a nobody. Oregon State moved up 12. Again, Oregon State still has to play Oregon, so there's still lots to play for them there. Louisville is finally getting some love. And Louisville lost a pretty, if I'm not mistaken, Louisville lost a pretty. I don't know if it was a close game, but they lost a game they shouldn't have lost a couple weeks ago. So they're starting to rebound back. Penn State comes in at 10. They move up 1 spot for us. There's a top 10 matchup this week, right? So Michigan now has to go to Penn State in a top 10 matchup. There you go. So Penn State number 10, probably scripted out there for you for a top 10 matchup. Tim, yeah. Kansas being 16 is great for Texas. That's great for Texas. It also hurts. Oklahoma losing 2 in a row and then not playing well against UCF starts to hurt Texas a little bit. As we all know, as diehard Texas fans, right? We know Texas was Oklahoma's Super Bowl. It's obvious they didn't play. They played okay before that, and then they haven't played well since. They put all their marbles into playing Texas. So Oklahoma hurts Texas a little bit. So we need like a Georgia, we need like a USC or like an Oregon or Washington to drop one or two here at the end. So we'll see what happens. Ole Miss comes in at 9. They just beat A&M, and they go to Georgia this week, right? So that's another top 10 matchup. So Ole Miss, Georgia. We got Penn State, Michigan this week. So we got some football, guys, and gals. For those of you guys tuning in, we got some football this week. So just looking at the matchups real quick. So we got, let's see, Saturday. So Michigan over Penn State, obviously. Alabama plays Kentucky. It's not too concerned about that. Tech plays Kansas, whatever. Let's see, further down the line. Florida State, Miami is very interesting. I think it's a very important game right there. Alabama comes in at 8, so Alabama doesn't move. I don't anticipate Texas to move either. They'll probably come back in at 7. So let's see what happens here. Even though Alabama does beat LSU at the end of the day convincingly, there's just nothing happening above Alabama to help them move the needle. The one concern I had was Alabama moving above Texas, but Texas beat Alabama at the end of the day. Look, the more Alabama wins, especially at home, the more it helps Texas because now them only being the only team that has beaten Texas or that has beaten Alabama on the road, their SEC opponents can even do that. So that's boding really well for Texas. Probably what's keeping them ahead of Alabama. So we'll see what's ahead there. And there we go. Texas comes in at number 7. So no movement for Texas. For Texas still stays at number 7 in the CFP rankings, right? So listen, I don't know what's there much to expect. Again, in order for things to go Texas's way as we hope and want it to, there's got to be things that happen in front of them, right? You need an Oregon, you need a Michigan, you need an Ohio State, you need one of these guys. You need some of these teams to start losing it. And while Texas controls their own destiny in the Big 12, which if they can't win these next 3 games, they don't deserve to be in the Big 12 title game. Like, I'm just going to say there is not one team on this schedule, team-wise, roster-wise. It's something we've said all year, right? Oklahoma really didn't worry me, and we're starting to see that play out. But what happens with Texas is, they start out really well, and they should let these teams just stay in the game with them. And that's how things were like Oklahoma happened, right? That's how things like last week, Kansas State, that's how things like that occur too. You got to put teams away these next 2 weeks. You basically have to bury TCU, you have to bury Iowa State, and you have to bury Tech at home. Oh, you have to bury Tech at home. You absolutely have to do that. Not just for playoffs or whatever, or the CFP or whatever you want to call it. But and here comes the CFP rankings. I'm trying to see if I can get this to you. So Oregon comes in at 6, to nobody's surprise. I mean they basically stay the same, right? So Oregon in at 6. In the latest college football playoff rankings, Washington in at 5, as expected. Let me check out here. Okay, I don't have that. I need something to clip this with. Okay, yes, we're taking a screenshot. All right, let's see if this works. No, don't want to do that. I don't know what that is. Okay, we'll figure that out later. But Oregon stays at 6, Washington in at 5. Let's see who comes in at 4. Shouldn't be any surprises here. I feel like and this is expected, right? No movement in the top 8. It all happens below that, which is not shocking. Florida State stays at 4. We've got let's see. So Florida State pounded on who do they pound on this week? They actually won pretty well this week. Let's see. So Florida State pounds on Pitt. They won 24-7. So they take care of business. Michigan comes in at 3. This might be Michigan was at 2 last week, weren't they? So this might be the biggest surprise. What wasn't Michigan just at 2? Yeah, Michigan was at 2. So Michigan will go this weekend as 3. So that is one thing that's changed. Michigan at 3, which would mean Ohio State goes to 2. A little switcheroo. Ohio State goes to 2, is my guess. Or sorry, Georgia stays at 2. Well, maybe Ohio State goes to 2, and then Georgia stays at 1. Is probably what's going to end up happening. So a little switcheroo there. I wonder if this is a little punishment. I don't really know. Georgia's at 2. Oh wow. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. So Georgia, who was ranked, I believe. Let's see. How do I look at the CFP rankings from last week? Is this any different? Does anybody know? So Georgia comes in at 2, and then that would mean that Ohio State is 1. Let me do something here, because apparently I don't have this, which is wild in itself. And I want to talk about this real quick because I feel like, and I'm not sure, but I feel like this has changed a little bit. Okay, so that was interesting. So let's see what we got here. So Texas stays at 7, Oregon 6, plus Washington 5, and then you have, let's see who it was. So it was totally drew a blank here. Give me 1 second. I'm drawing a blank. Okay. Where is the? That's the AP top 25. Who cares about this? Oh, here we go. Florida State at 4. This is what I wanted. I just want this little bit down here. And I can't get it. Okay. I cannot get this, but hold on. Maybe I can do it this way. This is not good, boys. Let's see. Oh my gosh, why is it not? Let's see if it does this. Nope, it doesn't. Okay. So this is what we'll do. You gotta be posted on here at some point, right? Anyway, Tim. So my top 4. I don't really think my top 4 changes. Honestly, I think the top 4 are the top 4: Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, and Florida State. Like, I would agree with. I don't think the top 4. This is the problem, right? And Washington is the team that kind of gets the benefit of the doubt here, I guess. But there's not really a reason to change the top 4, right? Now, what gets really interesting, and this is where they're talking about it right now, is, you know, the Texas, the 6, 7, 8s, right? That's where things get really interesting. Looking at it right now, they're showing it right here. Strength of schedule for Oregon, 63rd. Texas has the 10th strength of schedules, and Alabama has 8. that loss is really starting to hurt Texas. And until Texas can get away, something has to give for Texas to overcome that loss to Oklahoma. And regardless of how it happens, anything like that. I mean, heck, even Oregon's loss is the last second loss, right? They lost on a field goal to Washington to end the game there. So it really goes back to just take care of your business and let everything else take care of itself, right? So I don't disagree with the top four here. At the same token, I'm trying to get this to work, but it's not. I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty positive the rankings changed a little bit at the top because I was pretty sure Ohio State. Let me see. Georgia's 2. Okay, maybe it didn't change. Was Georgia ranked number 2 last week, or were they ranked number 1? I don't remember. Okay, maybe nothing has changed. I apologize. I was under the impression that something changed. So, no changes at the top. Top 8 are the same. Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, Michigan 3, Florida State 4. So that's kind of where we stand, boys and girls and everyone out there. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. No surprises this week. If you're Texas, this is what needs to happen. You need to keep winning. You need Washington to lose. You need Florida State to lose. You need a combination of Washington State and Florida, one of those top 4 teams to lose sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And your best bet of that is the game, obviously, right? One of those teams loses. Now you have that's a Big 12 conference champion. And then the whole Alabama thing becomes interesting now, right? If Alabama beats Georgia, is their strength of schedule not better than Texas? Because according to the rankings, as of right now, I think Alabama has I think it was like 8 in strength of schedule, something like that, or 4. So, if you're Texas, you just need to keep winning and you need some help. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. I will be back Thursday. He might try to do a morning show on Thursday, right? Thursday, 11 noon, something like that. So like late morning, early afternoon show. Come join us here live on YouTube. Hope to see you guys here. But meantime, in between time, see you guys later. Peace.